Welcome to Fuzzybutts and Friends. Well, as much as it dries Fuzzybutts all over this big old place of ours, absolutely crazy when they hear me say it. I am the host of this show, your big dog, Luke Robinson, here again with you this week. Also, we have back with us this week our co-host. She's also our co-producer, and she's also the executive director of the Puppy Up Foundation, Ginger Morgan. Ginger, how are you?
I'm doing well, Luke. I'm really looking forward to our podcast today. Learning a lot.
That's a mouthful. Yeah, all the titles and stuff that I have to get out there. And I realize you have more titles than I do. And I think I actually have more projects and accolades.
And I'm sure you've probably left some of my titles out. So.
And probably some titles that aren't really for public consumption too. I'm that as well.
No, probably not.
This is a kid show for sure. We like to keep it pretty much PG rated here, but it's a good thing we're having fun because I'm excited about the guest Ginger that we have today. It's something that we've never looked at before. He's got a wonderful project that he's working on. It's Marshall Williams with Project Pet. Marshall, welcome to Fuzzybutts and Friends. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Luke and Ginger.
Good. You got a really calm energy, so you totally offset me. I get right in the camera and I talk loud, so I like the zen.
I like calm.
Trust me, she can only tolerate me in very small doses. She likes calm. So, Marshall, where you tuning in from today? Where are you based out of?
Hey, I'm out here in Oakland, California. Luke.
All right. I'm sure I can already predict the temperature. Actually, Oakland is in the valley, right? Is that correct?
It's in the Bay Area, so
it's not.
I'd love for you to try to predict the temperature.
Yeah, that's.
He has on a sweatshirt.
Well, actually, it's a good point, Ginger. And you're right. Actually, the Bay Area is a wee bit unpredictable, unlike Southern California. But I do know that when you're coastal, it's typically a pretty consistent temperature. But when you dip down in the valley, that's when it goes crazy. You get your crazy high temperatures. I actually, Marshall, I'm not sure what type of research you did on me, but I walked the entire length of the West Coast from Canada to Mexico on the PCH, the 1 and the 101. So I've been in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, Luke, you're a special type of gangster, man.
Thank you. I like that. You're the first person. I like that a lot. Well, speaking of gangster, you have a project that's super focused, Marshall. We got lots to talk about. I love what your mission is. But what we like to start the show off with is, since we're Fuzzybutts and Friends, all about the Fuzzybutts. So do you have Fuzzybutts of your own?
I do. Oh wow, I didn't. Yeah, swap stick. Come here. Come here, buddy. He doesn't wake up before. He's from East Oakland. He doesn't wake up before really 11. He's looking at me now like what? But he's a miniature pinscher. I adopted him from Rocket Dog, miniature pinscher mix, and I adopted him from Rocket Dog Animal Sanctuary. One of our partners, Paley Boucher.
Okay, what was his name? I couldn't catch his name.
Swap with 2 P's. Then swap this for that. Yeah.
Okay. Here, swap. Come here. In case you wanted to swap him out if he didn't act right.
Well, he wanted to swap out his previous owner. Yeah, he swapped out. Here he comes. Okay. He swapped out his previous parent that didn't really work out. Okay.
Well, he traded up. There he is. Hey, swap a little buddy. What's going on? Yeah, how old?
He's like a year and some change, a year and 4 months, maybe. What's up, boy?
All right. Yeah. Well, he's new to the family, so he's
for sure. He's been here about 8 months now.
All right. Well, he's a good-looking kid, and it's good to have Fuzzybutts on Fuzzybutts Studios. Mine are Great Pyrenees, and they don't fit in the frame anywhere. And one of mine's 3-legged, and Ginger's are all over her area. So
sometimes you can see them walking in the back of behind me.
Yeah, what was the name of the shelter you said that you got them from?
Rocket Dog. It's a really influential animal sanctuary here in the Bay Area. Paley Boucher.
Okay, you think we should have them on the show then?
1000%. She's a lot more energy than me, I'll tell ya.
All right, but I gotta say I like the chill though. I really do, because you actually, and you need it though, because it seems like you have a pretty tough job there with Project Pet. So in that vein, and to segue that thought, Tell us, Marshall, your origin story, as much background as you want to give as it relates to your mission, and how you got Project Pet up and started.
I think, well, I've always, dogs have always been a part of my life from a child, and having move forward and, fast forward to 2020 in Oakland, we got the opportunity to work with the organization Black Men Speak, which is a nonprofit speakers bureau for Alameda County, and they're focused on mental health. And so while we're doing some capacity building with them, myself personally, and building this pet business, we were initially on Amazon and trying to discover our way of how do we really niche ourselves and make ourselves distinctive against our competition. And at the same time, we're doing some capacity building with this nonprofit work, and the data was just overwhelming around mental health, what it does for our anxiety, depression, PTSD, I mean, you name it. And at the same time, I'm, heavily involved in the social services in Alameda County. And so these things start to align. It's just like, hello, let's see what we can do here. We were fortunate enough to be privy to two conversations, one in animal welfare and another in social services. And so these two things overlapped in such a way that we created products and services dedicated towards access to care. Specifically, we focus on access to mental health, substance abuse, housing insecurity, and the reentry space. And we know that when we do these things, we can affect shelter kill rates and adoption rates at SPCAs, because we're not killing rich people's dogs there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So do you help then? Tell us who your I wouldn't say customer, but your candidate for your services. Is that a person who has substance abuse issues and mental health issues, and you go in and you help them with their pets? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, so our flagship was kind of got a lot of focus from our government partners right now, is our Release to Leash program, which is mental health through dog training, introduction to mental health and wellness principles through dog training. And so we pretty much placed our focus on what the data said. Like there's a lot of prestigious institutions that talk about what mental health does, but we didn't find programming, especially in our communities here in Oakland, that necessarily incorporated the mental health side directly with the pet side of things in a way that we were able to kind of get some things going. So it started there. We primarily so we'll train any dog. We recommend that anyone properly trains, socializes their dog. We specifically target the substance abuse, mental health, reentry, and housing insecurity, these communities here in Oakland.
So do you go into a situation where there's a mental health or substance abuse situation where there's the danger of them losing their pet? Is that the typical scenario? Or
I should caveat that we have a bunch of partners that help facilitate this process. So these partners are they're ingrained in stakeholders, Alameda County. I got City of Nonviolent Prevention, Alameda County Care for the Homeless, Prana Mind, Bay Area Association of Black Psychologists. We all partner together to provide these services. Project Pet is the connector that works with the human-animal bond to identify areas of further service, and then we provide the hand-holding process to our partners that deliver the care. And so that's our role in the community, whereas our micro clinics focus on just the day-to-day care and attention for the pet. We also incorporate attention for the human as well. And through all of these places, we identify further instances where we can be involved in the community and provide handholding service to the rest of the way. And so when we're in, if that's answered the question.
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea of where you're going. What is it like? So do you only service the Alameda County area, or is it the entire Bay Area?
At this time, we're in Alameda County.
Because San Francisco is Marin County.
San Francisco is its own county, but there is a Marin County. There's Contra Costa County. There's Santa Clara County. Like all of these places. But it's our first year. And we're startup bootstrapping. Like, I mean, we've been involved in kind of feeling our way, but this is the first year where we've really been able to make some headway in these regards.
Right. And so is Alameda County, it seems like your focus is in the underserved communities. Is that true of Alameda County? Give us an idea what the conditions are there, Marshall, in Alameda County for pet parents, the ones that are in the underserved communities. What is it like for them to take care of pets, to have pets and raise them and care for them?
Well, I think specifically for here in the county and Oakland, even to define it even more, I think it's the same thing that poor communities all over the country feel when we talk about being able to provide care for a pet. So if I cannot afford to take my family member, essentially, because these are, and you got to bear with me, Luke and Ginger, because I'm new to animal welfare, so my nomenclature may not be all the way.
That's okay.
We're working with a lot here, so just as we are the care aspect. If I can't, this is a family member that is sick in my home that's living here. If I'm not employed, we're spending a lot of time together.
Right.
Yeah.
And I, as a human being, and I cannot provide in a situation where I can't provide. Now that does something for the pet is obviously suffering. This family member is obviously suffering. But then what does that do for me and my motivations, right? So if I'm unemployed and I was considering employment, but now I have a sick family member, how does this work in this equation? You know what I mean? And that's just dealing with just a sick pet with a, it may be a lesion and a abrasion, a cut, a bump, not eating or whatever. This is multiple days at a time. And society is somewhat normalized that, okay, well, it just, somebody will work it out and it'll just, I don't know, quite frankly, you know what I mean? And I think that across I think that what we got going on in here in Oakland, I think is, it's got its unique challenges, but in regard, a lot of, it's the same thing what many communities feel.
Well, welcome aboard to the animal welfare, I would say, lifestyle, insane way of living. But welcome aboard. We need as many able-bodied people as we can get. There's a lot of work to do, so congratulations for that. And the dogs don't care about whether you got the lingo right or not. The Fuzzybutts, all they want is a happy, healthy home to live in, and they want some love as well. So I guess I'm just trying to zero in my understanding of the scope of what you do. So we know that in California, there are a lot of the homeless population is quite staggering. So do you service homeless people that have pets? Because we know there are homeless people that have their pets. Or do you focus entirely on people that have inside a residence that are racked with bills in this horrible economy of ours, and they just can't get by, or they have other limiting factors, and then you come in and you help them care for their pet indoors? Which one is it? Inside the home or homeless, or both?
So it's really both, but the service that the service that you would receive if you were homeless or at home is indistinguishable.
Okay.
So if I am at a homeless encampment, which on the west they just tore down, or the more recent one that's outside of my house, like when we pull up there, you're going to get vaccines, you're going to get medication, you're going to get you're going to get, examination by a qualified veterinarian. That same care, and this is where we talk about dealing with access, right? Because it shouldn't matter whether I'm at the house or if I'm at wherever I am. If I can't care for my pet, this is a disservice to me, my continence as an individual, right? And so the idea that Project Pet likes to distinguish on is like there shouldn't really be a distinguishment between the care. And so now right now it's limited in scope. We're not rich, you know what I mean? Like we're not rich. We definitely rely on we definitely rely on our community partners, PALS, East Bay, you know what I'm saying, Oakland Animal Services, to get this going. But really our focus is on connection and facilitating connection between these actors, right? Because everyone, and what we noticed very early, Luke and Ginger, was that everyone in animal welfare has been running a lot farther and a lot longer than we had, right? And so what is the immediate value that I can provide? And that specifically is in networking these people who are doing these things, right? Who, on one hand, Oakland Animal Services saying, we're getting crazy amount of dogs. And on another hand, the social services say we need more people to take advantage of these services that we're offering. And I look at the lines in the line for vaccines. They're the same people that are standing in lines for the other services, but everybody's running so hard and fast in their silo. We don't always have time to connect up and build bridges, and that's what Project Pit is here to do.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. So your what came up top on the list of the services that you offer, and I think that's what you're speaking to, are these pop-up micro clinics that you have. Tell us about those.
Right. So our first one was in East Palo Alto at Rocket Dog, right? So vets in vans, Tracy and Lauren, Dr. Tracy and Dr. Lauren are there, and we just legit it was crazy. And Paley has been there for quite some time. Rocket Dogs is the animal sanctuary. Paley's been there for quite some time. That was her first clinic, I believe, there. And the community was just overwhelming. So we show up, we provide we did not do the spay neuter service there. They referred they scheduled those, but we took care of all of those needs right there in the community. And the idea is to be portable and mobile in our service, because not all community members have the ability to travel. If you can get the service, and it's 15, 20 miles away, that could be a deal breaker if you can't get there, right? Or it's going to cost you too much, right? So the idea is to be lean, mean, mobile, and use all our resources, right? And so that is what we try to do, is duplicate that scenario where we have our community partners there. So in supporting that effort, it's a human and pet focus in everything that Project Pet does. We were supported by All of Us or None. We were supported by Black Men Speak. They provide advocacy and mental health resource, counseling referrals there. And so at the same time, when the pets are being serviced for, receiving their vaccine, receiving their examination, we're able to work with the family member at that point.
So
really interesting.
It is. It makes complete and total sense to me, is that you have all these different wonderful, local, municipal, and nonprofit organizations that are doing all these. They have all these different basket of services that they offer, but the pet parent there in that area isn't always getting access to those services. And so it's your job to make sure that, hey, I'm here to make sure your pet, your fuzzy butt, gets access to all those services, and I can help coordinate and make sure you get what you need, or your fuzzy butt gets the care that they need. Is that a fair assessment, Marshall?
That's 1,000% on the money. So when Alameda County Healthcare for the Homeless, they're already established in the community. Right. They may not necessarily be servicing pets in the way that Project Pet brings to the table. When we combine, we've got this synergy of, human and pet, environmental, and that's what we believe in, the One Health model, which is what we stand on: environment, people, and pets together, all servicing these access to care issues.
Absolutely. We talk about it a lot here on Fuzzybutts and Friends, the value of companion animals in society, and caring for companion animals really is a community thing. It really is. And it should be viewed that way, but it isn't, though, currently, right?
We've got a lot of work to do in that regard.
Well, I know here in Memphis it's not, and because in Memphis is a little bit unique. That's where our foundation is based out of, and the studio is right now at this moment here in Memphis. In Memphis, it's a fairly it's I won't say it's a poor city, but we certainly have an inner city and intercity problems. And animal welfare is just so far down on the list. And I'm sure, like Oakland and Alameda County, we have a lot of wonderful nonprofits here that do so many wonderful things for children. The children of the human children, not the animal children that Ginger and I have. The human children, and they do a lot for that. But if you look at animal welfare, it's just so low down on the priority, and it's almost like Ginger. It would be great to have an organization that triages with the human health services and said, hey, it's a household issue. While you're here taking care of the humans, you got to take care of the Fuzzybutts too. Ginger was the executive director of the Memphis and Shelby County Humane Society here for a few years, and she had a program. Ginger, you can talk to about it. So you know a little bit about the area in which his Project Pet is working in, right?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
You're asking
I
a
think
question.
I in there somewhere. I think she went
Yes.
to Marshall. Marshall, it's just you and me, buddy. It's just the two of us, so it's okay.
When you asked a question, I was just like, well, okay.
I think we caught her snoozing or napping or something.
No.
I know you're awake.
Are you talking about the?
My questions tend to go long. I was just talking about how you have had some similar experiences in working with inner city children and pets in the community, right? That's all I was going with.
Yes, I did. So we did several programs. We did a lot of humane education in a lot of the inner city schools and rec centers. And then the other thing that we did when I was at the Humane Society is the juveniles who were tried as adults and were in prison came to the Humane Society here backs up to the prison pretty much. And so they would come over and I would train them to train our dogs. And so, after a couple of months, the warden came to me and said they had way less fighting amongst that group of gentlemen, young men, I guess I should say, and than they had ever had before. Yeah. And we got some dogs that were deemed unadoptable. The Humane Society here is a low kill, but sometimes you have dogs that just have attitudes that are not going to work out. And so those were the dogs that I gave to the gentlemen with attitudes. And all those dogs were able to get adopted. And I think the guys really learned a lot. And we didn't just talk about training. We talked about life in general and why they were incarcerated and what they were going to do not to go back. And, hopefully they did not go back as adults. But I had a really good time with the guys.
And that's interesting because in that regard, I was in the system as a juvenile. I worked in the system as an adult and witnessing firsthand the power that animals had. Like these are things that at the time when I was there, I was just like, well, yeah, it works, right? Yeah, I didn't know I was gonna have a 20 some years later, I didn't know I was gonna have a pet company. But it is truly, it's real. And when things are as real as this is in the society, there's things that are really real, like are hard to come by. Like, yeah. I feel like we could turn it up a notch as a community of animal welfare people and how we focus on this intersection. And so that's kind of my contribution to the party.
Well, I love how you said that, Marshall. The power that companion animals really. I don't even know why I use that term because I'm on Twitter and I see all these videos with these little bitty lambs or goats and stuff, and I'm like, I could have one of those. I could hang with one of those, but it does, and I know for me personally that's true because I'm a type A person. I work all the time. I think when I'm not working, and so I live in a little bubble that I've sort of created for myself, and it's hard to get out of that. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s that an ex-girlfriend brought me my first dog, a Great Pyrenees named Malcolm. and I didn't want them. I was like, no, I don't want them. I got all, I'm too busy. I can barely take care of myself. It's certainly, you could make a case that I have mental health issues. You certainly probably could make a pretty solid case. That maybe all of us do. Some of us just have a harder time with some things, and taking care of dogs, and even myself, has never been a priority. But my ex-girlfriend, she wouldn't take Malcolm back, so I was stuck with him, and he changed me. And it was because he got cancer that I did my first cross-country backpacking adventure after I lost him to cancer. And it really, that was my homage to him. That was my, hey, you changed my life, man. You were a power and a force in my life. And look at me now. I'm doing a dog podcast, an animal podcast.
That's right.
But it is very powerful, and I see that, and I think Ginger has seen that, because you were very fortunate. I think you probably know this, that you actually you said you grew up around dogs, though, right?
Yeah, for sure. We had when I was younger, for sure.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that don't, or there is a percentage of people that don't grow up with dogs, or if they do, their experience with dogs is not positive. It's not a positive thing. And I just think that's a very sad way to live life if you don't have that, if you never open yourself up to that power, or the ability to have a companion animal truly transform you in some way. I think you're missing something. And I think that's what you were speaking about, is that power can go from just the relationship between me and Malcolm, and you and Swap, and Ginger and Pete. It goes and becomes, that power goes out into the community, and it becomes a community thing. So
that thing is commoditized. I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Well, yeah, well, that power is a commodity, right? Under the right supervision is a commodity, and people like it, and it's what has given me the ability as a solo founder to make connection with partners that are bigger than me, right? It's that power, but and we all have that ability, but some of us get to it, when we get to it in our own time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely. I was later to life. I think Ginger was. When you got your first heart dog, Pete?
Oh, I was. I got Pete in 1997.
All right, I won't venture a guess how old you were there, but you were not young. And before you had.
Thanks.
Oh, I meant to say you were not old.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
Oops.
You see how this goes? See how this goes?
We're going to have to edit that part out. But I think the same thing, similar thing, is I was in my late 20s when I got Malcolm, and I grew up around animals, and I had I think a fundamental love and respect for them, but I never had that connection. So was Swap your first bond or connection with the companion animal?
Yeah. The dogs I had the dogs that we had in the family when I was younger were more peripheral. They it was like, it wasn't my stewardship and my parenting and all of this and that wasn't that, and it is woo.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yep.
It's very different now. With it's different how people take care of their animals now than how they did 20, 30, years ago. It's just amazing. Now they have to have all the toys. And when I grew up, when we did have dogs, that they may have a toy or two. We fed them, we loved them, we let them in and out, but exactly, they were like on the sideline. Now they're like number one.
Now they have TikTok channels.
Exactly.
Exactly. And some of them are walking on two legs now. I truly think I think there's a scam going on. Dogs are evolving, and we're just not seeing it. They're walking on two legs, and they're becoming influencers. So, Marshall, give us an idea. We see all the videos here in the country of what the West Coast looks like with the homeless population. And I can only imagine that there are a lot of decent people there that have run into hard times, and they just don't want to give up their companion animal. And so is the pet population and the homeless camps and the homeless population, is it a very large population that you're dealing with there?
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
are we talking thousands, hundreds, or thousands? Would you guess? Or tens of thousands?
well, and I can talk to the county. I can talk to Oakland.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I think there's, I don't want to say the wrong number, but it's in the low thousands.
All right.
Which is, for a town of 400,000 people to have, uh, 5,000-6,000 homeless people. I don't, it's somewhere, it's a racial, it's like that, but you feel it though.
Yeah.
You feel it
Yeah.
when you move around the city. It's something that's very noticeable.
Yeah.
And you look at our news and you see what's going on.
Yeah.
And one of our largest encampments that was been there the longest on the west side was recently closed down. And you're talking about that's maybe 3 miles from me. And within a week, I saw my neighborhood change.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, so it closed. What happened to the homeless people and what happened to their pets? Did they just relocate or did they?
Yeah, they came to my crib, evidently. Yeah. Which but this is what happens, and nobody's removed from it. And I live on the lake in Oakland, and this is not somewhere where you would normally see this type of stuff going on, but this is where we're at.
Yeah.
This is where we're at. And so we got to get involved if we want to find situations. We got to get involved, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, if you have thousands.
How many of the homeless people, well, maybe just a percentage wise, do you see that actually have dogs with them?
Oh, here, at least right here on the lake, there's just in the bridge underpasses, which is where I go every day to the gym. There was one guy there, and he passed. I never knew his name. He wasn't verbal, but we would communicate. And he had a pet. Since then, there's 10 people. Since there's 10 unhoused neighbors, and I'd say maybe 4.
Okay.
4 pets.
So maybe almost 50% of the homeless people have pets ish, something like that percentage.
Well, just in my neck of the woods, right? But if you look at just overall, by and large, Generation Z and millennials are the largest demographic of pet owners. They're half ethnic, and in opportunity zones in Oakland, the average age is 34. So if you in opportunity zones are the areas that in Oakland where that have been identified as areas of focus for economic opportunity. If you look at that, the average age is 34, and that's a millennial age. Half of them are pet owners. That's a lot.
Right.
There's a strong possibility that a person could be unhoused with pet. And we're certainly providing the services to them and seeing it.
Yeah, I remember reading a statistic years ago that San Francisco was the first city to have more pets in the household than children. So the pet in the household population exceeded the children in the house population. So, and I know West Coast is a bunch of animal loving people, but boy, if you had that large of a homeless population or unhoused population, then you're going to have a large unhoused pet population. How do you are you the guys, is Project Pet the organization that's out there making sure that all of these unhoused people, that their pets are being fed, that they even have access to food, to kibble? How do their pets get food?
Well, we're one of many organizations.
Okay.
PALS, our friend Jessica, Oakland Animal Services out there. There's numerous organizations that Rocket Dog, all of these people, you know how it is. Like everybody, animal welfare is doing multiple jobs. You know what I mean? We give a vaccine, we give them food, we get, dropping off leashes.
Okay.
So So we are one of many people that are doing what we can to address these issues and work with our neighbors.
Right. Okay, so you're making sure they've got food, they've got working with other organizations to make sure they've got food, they have access to medical care with the micro clinics. Then you have release a leash. You talked about that a second ago. Is that the training part of your services? And how does that work again?
It is. So we're currently developing that curriculum. We're looking to partner with the Bay Area Association of Black Psychologists, and what that will do is right now right now we've piloted that where we actually introduce soft skills, right? So when you come into a clinic, you're given a intake packet where we work through with you how long have you had the dog, what training issues are you noticing, some lifestyle questions, how are you feeling about your housing situation in the next 30, 60, 90 days, 1 year, and then a mental health self-assessment. Take this information easy, light, right? In further stages, we're looking to build more firm skills in the mental health, because our current curriculum right now is 8 weeks. Wow. And so we flush out introduction to like what is grounding, where is your attention, how are you feeling when you wake up in the morning, like and energy transference in which how does this relate to how your dog picks up with you, because when you're angry and you're frustrated or yet embarrassed is one, right? When you're embarrassed in public with the dog, how do you react, how do you respond? Because when we do that with the dog, we also know that we do that to ourselves. And the kinder we are to ourselves, the more kind we can be with our pets, the more space we have. And so we try to cultivate language to have these types of conversations, to take ourselves more seriously, to take our experiences more seriously, to be able to withstand what it takes to be successful in life. And we implement those practices, those principles by working with pets.
So you're just making sure that pet parents you're just trying to improve the relationship between pet parents and their pets, right? Is that you're trying to make sure
pet
that
parents and themselves, that translates to pet parents and them and the pet, right? Because it all starts like in we just got back from the animal welfare expo in New Orleans, United States Humane Society. Were you there?
I was. That's how I got your contact information.
Oh, wow. Okay. I wondered.
How did she find me? Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're real low right now. But I tell you, you're very clairvoyant and future forward. Let me tell you. But when we got there, we're seeing where animal welfare wants to be involved more strategically in the care of the person, as a way to help assist their goals with the animal oriented goals, right? And so if you scale that down to what we experience at the community level, we have to have people that are interested in caring for themselves, that recognize themselves as important, that recognize they have value, recognize that their future is valuable, before we can get them to really care about more than they currently do about the care of their animal, if that's where they're at.
Yeah, I completely understand that, and I would imagine that's very tough though, because you're serving a population of people that have substance abuse, sometimes very severe substance abuse problems, and they're not able to care for themselves, and they're at a station or point in life where they're down on their luck, things aren't going right, and it affects them very deeply mentally, and that really does change the nature of their relationship with their animal. But the question I have though, are there any cases where you meet some of your clients or the candidates for the services, and their substance abuse, their problems or addiction is so extensive that you actually have to remove the pet from the situation, and hopefully care for it, and then maybe put that person in treatment, get them right, and get them on the right road? Do you help facilitate that? Because that would be a huge service, a huge need for that, I would imagine.
So quite often we deal with cases of people who are seeking treatment, and I'll go right now, but somebody got to have my dog. I'll go to treatment. If you get the dog right now, I'll go, right? We help facilitate care for the dog during respite stays, during chemotherapy extent, surgery. You know what I mean? Randy at the PAC, Fruitvale, Dan Parada Training opens up his warehouse facility and houses. You know, these are the partners that step up and help facilitate these efforts. So yeah, directly we do that. And it's important to note, it's important to note that the unhoused, there's many different reasons, and I do want to, you didn't necessarily ask about this, but I want to submit this. We should be very observant when we consider these communities, because everybody's standard of care is not our own standard of care. Some people are perfectly happy living where they are.
Right.
They're perfectly happy living where they are. Not everyone who is unhoused is on a substance abuse addict, an addiction in any way, any kind of criminal that can't get a job with the barrier to entry in that way. Like, some people, this is the way they choose to live their lives.
Right.
And so we are very careful as an entity not to impose solutions, but to help people to create their own. Due to Senate Bill 803 and the California peer training certification, you know, we're trained to come in and help people to arrive at their own conclusions.
Right.
Because we are the people that have the lived experience. That, hey, you know, who's got the most experience? The guy with the criminal justice system, the guy that did 5 years in the prison, or the guy that's got a 4-year college degree, right? And so this person, these people who are experiencing homelessness need to be respected as such, not as a condemned, or, you know what I mean? So just
sure. No, and I didn't mean to imply otherwise. In my
no, I don't. I wasn't suggesting that you were, but I just like to say, because a lot of we just in society at large is quick to generalize homeless and housing. Like, everyone is not created equal.
Absolutely, it's a very broad brush that society likes to paint the unhoused or homeless population with. And, you know, I've lived in a tent now for almost 3 years. I've been on the road for over 3 years with my 3 walks, and it was by choice, but I've sort of been on the road and not been sedentary, and that's my lifestyle. And I can assure you, my parents, my whole family don't understand my lifestyle.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the exact opposite. They have children, they've been sedentary, they live in a community, they've built that community, and so on and so forth. That's not the lifestyle for me. So, you know, I know that all cats are not made and all dogs are not made equal. That's for sure, and I appreciate that. But it also must make it a little bit more challenging on your end, because you have such a diverse group of people that choose to be or either compelled, forced, or choose to be unhoused. It makes it much more complicated or complex situation.
Well, not necessarily for me, because the service end of it isn't about the get back, right? I'm there to do a job. I'm there to provide service and be a party to someone else's experience, right? So that doesn't imply that, you know, in order for me to feel good about what I did, I need to see gratification. You know, I just show up, we spend the time, we dedicate the time in fullness and sincerity. And then when we're not there anymore, that time is gone. When we're there, we show up, right? And that is the energy. And that is the energy that has to be met, because if you show why a lot of people wash out, right?
Yeah.
Don't show up expecting anything.
Yeah.
Be a witness to somebody else's experience, because you're going to go home to your house and you showing up expecting, like, I just want improvement and I just want this and this and that. It's not really not how this game goes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's kind of the stance that we stay. We show up 100%, and we dedicate that time, we dedicate that space. right? And over time, that changes communities.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really good point to that as well. Ginger, I was just curious about if you had any experiences, what your similar experiences were, or with the Humane Society in that respect.
For the homeless people.
Well, I just wanted to see if there were any parallels that came to mind, because I know that you were sort of a peripheral to that part of the Memphis community, right? When you were dealing with
Right.
right.
For the Humane Society, I didn't really come across that many homeless people while I was there who had dogs that we needed to, that needed to be treated. If we did, I did the best we could, and then we returned the dogs back to the person. I know now in Memphis, and a couple of things that you were talking about, Marshall, we have several homeless people in our area that have dogs. And so it's like there's a community of people not just watching out to make sure that the dog is well cared for, but they also make sure that the gentleman is cared for.
Right.
Right.
We have that Nextdoor app. And so if somebody will say, hey, have you seen so-and-so and his dog lately? Because I haven't seen him in like 24 hours. I mean, literally, they start checking. And, it'll come down, the conversation will go on like, oh, no, he's good. I just dropped off lunch for him and some kibble for the dog. And, the
That's
people
right.
really, the community has come together to provide for him and watch over them. And what you were saying earlier about some people choose to be unhoused, as you used the word you used. There's a homeless person that lives very close to me in the wintertime. There's a railroad track, and she is under that railroad track with her cart and everything, and she is under there. And it has been, even in Memphis, I mean, it gets really cold, and
Yeah.
many people have stopped and offered her money so that she could stay at a homeless shelter, and she will not leave that space.
Yeah.
And so, we all drop stuff off for her occasionally and stuff, and she accepts it. But, you can't even see her under there. She's probably pretty warm, of where she is, but it worries the entire neighborhood.
Yeah, this is about this thing is about mutual respect and having conversations. Where are those to be had?
Right. Right. One other thing, pardon me, Marshall, that I had on my bullet points of notes that I wanted to go over is you have a service on your in your white paper or your PDF that you sent me called Align Care. Was curious about that. What is Align Care?
So that is what we're extremely excited about with our national partner, the Align Care, Dr. Michael Blackwell, Tennessee University of Tennessee, Knoxville. So it is a community funded veterinary medicine. If you have Medicaid or Medi-Cal, in California is Medi-Cal, if you have Medicaid, that does not cover your pet. And so if this past not too long ago, I had tore my patella, had to have surgery, I had insurance that covered it. Have a pet, it doesn't cover the pet, right? Okay, this takes care of that. And that's an effort that at an 80-20 split. So we pay, Align Care pays 80%, the family pays 20%. If the family is not in a position to pay, we oftentimes can get that subsidized.
Wow.
And so that is it's a pilot program that we're bringing to the Bay Area. It's already doing great things in Los Angeles and in the Midwest. And so here in the Bay Area, we're leading that with our partner Oakland Animal Service, and looking to have a lot more to report about that soon.
Yeah, that sounds like a really wonderful program. So who subsidizes the 80%? Is that an insurance carrier, or
no? We have to. That's what we raise. That's
what you raise.
We go out. Yeah, we go out. We raise the money. What we eat, we kill. Pretty much what we kill, we eat. But that is that's how that works.
No, we're actually looking at, if you look at my shirt, it says Hudson's Hope is I'm going to be starting. I wanted to do it last year, but it's the walk 3 and so many other things going on. But Hudson's Hope, we're going to be starting a fund that specifically covers the treatment of cancer care and cancer diagnostics for companion animals, because that's getting so crazy expensive.
Right.
The average family that has 2 kids, they can't afford it now. Cancer care has become extremely expensive, and so we meet pet parents all over the country that just say, "Well, I can't afford treatment, so therefore I just have to watch my mate, my fuzzy butt, die from cancer," and that's just a horrible, horrible thing to have. And I'm sure you see that out there in Alameda, is you have parents that they have health issues that, thank goodness, do you call it Medi-Cal over there that covers, and they have some other government organizations that cover some of those costs, but then they don't have the cost of care for their companion animal covered, and that's just a horrible place to be. So that sounds like a wonderful. So you're just starting out, so you don't have numbers of how many pets you're treating yet? Okay, you're just starting out.
No, we're just getting that kicked off. We formed our community council, which is involved of a finance committee, animal welfare, social service, and then of course a line care. And we're in the process of raising funds for that. So yeah,
well, good luck. That's very needed, and you're gonna run into people that just say, "Well, there's so many limited resources. Why do we need resources for that?" And just keep going back to the power. The people that the power of companionship is so important, that people that really of any walks of life, they need that in their life, and part of that is welfare and care for the companion animal. So have we, Marshall? Have you missed it? Oh, I wanted to ask you. I'm trying to segue back to that. So tell me, do you have any success stories, any really good stories, heartwarming stories that you have to share with our audience out there that you've seen? Of pets that you're taking care of, pets that you guys have saved yet? Or are you still so new that everything is still in the works?
No, we ain't that new. What guy I could think of in particular, Sean, he was unhoused. He was living on the lake. He built up this gigantic community on the lake, like an encampment on the lake, and I watched it from the first pillar to I mean, I'm literally, it was like 5 or 6 bedrooms, had a porch, had a this or that, and through the process of building a relationship, the city comes. It tore it down during he and I, friendship. City comes, tears it down, and he has to go. He's got his dog. He got this beautiful hound dog, and or I don't know what Brownie is. Brownie is something some kind of weird mix, but anyway, it's massive. And he wasn't sure. He had arthritis. He wasn't sure if he was going to be able to keep the dog much longer, just pulling them. So we got with Dan Parada, and was able to, in the process of building with Sean and getting training for Brownie, we got Sean in the house, we got Sean in the car, we got Sean in
Wow.
more stable now. And I'm doing a lot of laughing because he's become my homeboy. You know what I'm saying? I just gotta laugh about it because it's literally like, it literally started from the dog. Well, we seeing the homeless encampment pop up on this lake, and then build a relationship with the dog, and now I got a homeboy out of this. I literally, it was a year and a half, a cold year and a half through this process, but I have literally seen, the principles that we stand on, enacted. And so
That's great.
Yeah,
It is. You certainly are a man about the community, and you for the Herculean task ahead of you. You do need to be partnering with so many community organizations, because you can't pull the weight that entirely yourself. But I got to tell you, I've seen some videos of some of those unhoused people and the designs of the tent encampments, the tent suites. I guess there's almost like suites. They've got one room, got an AC they're running in there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
To each their own. To each their own. You're gonna tell, you know what I mean?
I do. To me, if they have a fuzzy butt in their encampment, they need an AC. I want to make sure that they're.
I had an AC, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, Marshall, is there anything else that you want to share with our audience about the wonderful work that you're doing with Pet Project, or any other ideas or thoughts you have for us?
I think that's it. I appreciate you having me on, Fuzzybutts. Thank you, Luke and Ginger, and I just look forward to showing what this brand can do, what it looks like to be laser beam focused and not concerned about a lot of the things that can cause you to be unfocused on solving these issues. I'm looking to show what that does in Oakland.
Excellent. Well, where can
Great.
people find you on social media? Do you have a website?
Yeah, we're at _project_pet on Instagram, TikTok, and our website is projectpet.org.
Projectpet.org. So if you're in the Alameda County area and you're in need of those services, please reach out to them. If you want to donate and help Marshall on his mission, that'd be great too, at projectpet.org, right? Projectpet.org, or
That's right.
_project_pet on Insta, TikTok, and that's it. You're not on Twitter?
It's _project_pet on Twitter too. Yeah.
Okay, well, I will find you anyway.
I would caveat to everyone that we have been service focused, so these platforms aren't curated yet. But the Instagram, you'll see what we're about, and just stay tuned. It's gonna watch out for the Bay Area One Health Coalition too. That's gonna be big.
Well, Marshall, I like your vision. You got a big plan, a big dream for your area. I wish you the best, and we will keep an eye on you. We'd love to have you back maybe in about a year or so. We'd like to invite our guests back on and update us with their project and tell us what's going on. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's right. We can turn it up for sure.
We can turn it up for sure. All right, this is the time of the show where Ginger, typically, sometimes she doesn't, has a Puppy Up Foundation cancer tip or cancer advice for the week. Ginger, do you have something for us?
Well, I do, because I like to get on my soapbox every couple of weeks. So it's all about lumps and bumps again. And as you know, we had a bump aspirated on Indiana this week. And I love the fact that the veterinarian said, well, we're going to, aspirate it because I'm not God. I can't just look at it and say that it's not cancer. And, that's the thing I just want to stress to people, pet parents out there, is have it aspirated. Don't just let your vet say, watch it and see what happens, because while you're watching it, that little bump on the surface could be doing a lot of damage underneath the skin. So have it aspirated and you'll feel a lot better about it. And I'll feel better about it. So
Yeah,
have it aspirated.
It doesn't cost a whole lot, just a vet visit, and they typically take a little small needle and they'll just pull some of the liquid out of it, look at it underneath the microscope, and they should be most nearly often be able to tell if there's some strange looking cells that require a biopsy. So it's inexpensive, it's relatively painless. Marshall, do you guys do that, offer cancer care, or are you at that level right now where have you had any cancer cases that you've dealt with?
Tracy and Lauren both they do the works. They're at Vets and Vans, so they do the works. They are fully 100% biopsy, the whole thing. Yeah, they do it.
Excellent.
And the name of it it's Vets and Vans.
Vets in Vans, yes.
I was going to say, anybody else you think we should have on our show to talk about what you've got going on there? We'd love to have them on our show. Yeah,
for sure. Paley, you definitely need to talk to Paley. You need to talk to Jill Posner at Paw Fund. You need to talk to
I'm gonna have to email this.
Yeah.
Get all their contact
I could go
information.
on. I got a lot of folks, man.
You're a man of the community for sure, and you're a man of the community, but Ginger's got a really narrow memory capacity. Her CPU is jam full of all sorts of silly thoughts, and she can't hold much. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. All right, everybody. Well, Marshall, thank you so much for being on Fuzzybutts and Friends. We look forward to getting back with you and inviting some of your other organizations out in the area on here and talking about the wonderful things. So best of luck to you and safe travels to you and Swap, my friend. Hope to talk to you soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, everybody, that concludes this. Thank you, Ginger, for everything you don't do. It's good you finally did wake up, though. You perked up on the second half of the show, so thank you for that.
I was listening.
Oh no, Marshall just cut out. All right, well, thank you. we usually have the guests stay on, and so we can follow up and take care of business things. But Marshall just signed off. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Next week, we drop a new episode every Tuesday on your podcast platforms such as iHeartRadio or Spotify, or you can watch this thing, the video, on our YouTube channel, which is fuzzybuttsstudios.com. Until next week, puppy up. Talk soon. Bye, Marshall.